The crisis in the Strait of Hormuz has entered its most dangerous and consequential phase yet, with a 14-day ceasefire set to expire on April 22nd. Diplomatic efforts are accelerating at a pace that reflects the terrifying urgency of what comes next if they fail. Military forces are positioned, weapons are primed, and the world's most powerful nations are now racing against a deadline that nobody, not Washington, not Tehran, not Beijing, can afford to let expire without a resolution. For the first time since Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz following the outbreak of conflict on February 28, 2026, China has stepped directly and publicly into the fray, issuing a pointed warning to its longtime ally, the Islamic Republic of Iran, that the strait must be reopened. And the weight of that message cannot be understated. On the evening of April 20th, Chinese President Xi Jinping delivered what observers are calling the clearest and most significant diplomatic signal to emerge from Beijing since the conflict began, following a phone call with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, a conversation reported by China Central Television and confirmed by the Chinese state news agency Xinhua. Xi Jinping made his position explicit. The Strait of Hormuz must be treated as an open and unrestricted passage for international shipping. It is, he stated, in the fundamental interests of every nation in the region and of the global community as a whole. The statement was careful and measured in its language, as Chinese diplomatic communications typically are, but its meaning was unmistakable. Beijing was sending a direct message to Tehran. The continued closure of the Strait of Hormuz is damaging not just to Iran's enemies, but to China itself, and China will not remain silent about it. Xi's warning came on the heels of a separate communication from Chinese Foreign Minister Wang to his Iranian counterpart, Foreign Minister Abbas Araqchi. In that conversation, Wang was even more direct, telling the Iranian side that the Strait of Hormuz must become a shared international shipping corridor for the entire world community. He urged Tehran to act quickly, to assess the situation with clear eyes, and above all, not to allow the crisis to spiral beyond the point of control. Wang Yi's message carried a note of unmistakable urgency. Everything must be considered, and it must be considered now. Why China is speaking up. For those watching Beijing's posture in this conflict, Xi Jinping's intervention is both significant and revealing. China is Iran's most important economic partner and one of its most consistent diplomatic defenders. Beijing has shielded Tehran from the harshest international pressure for years, providing political cover, economic investment, and a reliable market for Iranian oil. The two nations signed a sweeping 25-year strategic cooperation agreement that cemented their relationship as one of the defining partnerships of the emerging multipolar world. But the Strait of Hormuz is not just an Iranian issue. It is a Chinese issue. It is an existential issue for the Chinese economy. Approximately 40% of China's energy imports pass through the Strait of Hormuz every single day. Hundreds of Chinese tankers depend on the waterway's safe passage to fuel the factories, cities, and industries that underpin the world's second-largest economy. Every day the strait remains closed or contested is a day that China's energy security is directly threatened. Xi Jinping's public push to reopen the strait is therefore not simply an act of diplomatic generosity toward either side. It is an act of self-preservation. Beijing is deeply alarmed by what a prolonged military confrontation in the strait would mean for China's economy, for regional stability, and for the global trading order on which China's prosperity depends. Observers have been quick to note that Xi's four-point peace proposal for the Middle East unveiled last week, and his subsequent direct outreach to both Saudi Arabia and Iran signaled that Beijing is no longer content to watch from the sidelines. China is now an active participant in the diplomatic effort to prevent this crisis from becoming a catastrophe. Whether Tehran will listen is another question entirely. The ceasefire's final hours, Trump issues his last warning. On the American side, the mood is one of exhausted determination and barely contained impatience. President Donald Trump has made his position unambiguous. The ceasefire brokered under the framework of a three-nation agreement expires on April 22nd, and Trump has stated categorically that he will not extend it again. When reporters pressed the president on whether a military option remained on the table if the deadline passed without a deal, Trump did not hesitate. "It could be," he said. He was clear that he did not want to choose military action against Iran, that he preferred a negotiated resolution. But he was equally clear that the decision was Iran's to make. And he warned Tehran in stark, unambiguous terms, "Do not choose stupidity." Trump expressed frustration with what he described as Iran's pattern of delay, of using ceasefire extensions as breathing room to regroup, and strengthen the Revolutionary Guard's posture against American forces. He said he had no intention of allowing the ceasefire framework to become a tool for Iran to buy time rather than make decisions. In an interview with GNEW's network on Monday, Trump confirmed that if the ceasefire expired on Wednesday night, Eastern Time without an agreement, the United States would have no choice but to return to considering military force. The president was also direct about the terms of any potential deal. "Negotiations," he said, "cannot be conducted under the shadow of Iranian threats and the United States is willing to negotiate, but Iran cannot demand that America stand down, withdraw its forces, and abandon its leverage before a single word of substance is spoken at the negotiating table." That, Trump made clear, is not negotiation. That is capitulation. And it will not happen. Tehran's position: defiant, uncertain, and running out of time. Iran's response to the mounting pressure has been characteristically defiant, but also, observers note, increasingly uncertain. Tehran has confirmed that it is preparing to send a delegation to the second round of talks, described by many analysts as the final round, with the American delegation led by the U.S. Vice President expected to arrive in the region on Tuesday. But Iranian officials have simultaneously insisted that Iran will not enter the negotiating room if the United States continues to use the threat of military force as leverage in the talks. This position places Tehran in a deeply difficult bind. On one hand, the Revolutionary Guard, widely regarded as more powerful than the elected government of President Masoud Pezeshkian, has consistently taken a harder line, resisting any concession that it views as a surrender to American pressure. On the other hand, the military and economic situation facing Iran is becoming increasingly dire. The conflict has already destroyed an estimated 70 Iranian naval vessels. Oil revenues are under sustained pressure. Cities and infrastructure have absorbed significant damage. And now, China, Iran's most powerful ally and most important economic partner, is publicly calling for the strait to be reopened. The message from every direction is the same. The time for delay has passed. Whether Iran's fractured leadership structure, divided between the elected government, the Revolutionary Guard, and the Supreme Leader's office, can produce a coherent and timely decision remains the central and terrifying uncertainty of this entire crisis. Even as diplomatic efforts intensify, the military situation on the ground, or rather, at sea, has continued to escalate in ways that are making diplomacy simultaneously more urgent and more fragile. On the night of Sunday, April 19th, the United States Navy intercepted an Iranian merchant vessel in the Arabian Sea, thousands of kilometers from the Gulf of Oman, after the ship attempted to breach the defensive barrier established by American warships. U.S. Special Forces deployed from the USS Tripoli conducted the operation, with destroyers and submarines providing support. The vessel was disabled and seized. Iran's response was swift and furious. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps confirmed that Iranian naval forces had opened fire on U.S. warships in the Gulf of Oman in retaliation for the seizure. The U.S. Navy's Central Command confirmed that its merchant vessels and warships in the area had come under fire. The exchange of fire, however, limited in its immediate scope, represents another dangerous step up the ladder of escalation between two nuclear-adjacent military powers operating in dangerously close proximity. The seizure of an Iranian vessel, thousands of kilometers from the primary conflict zone, sent a signal that Washington is prepared to project military force across an extraordinarily wide geographic area. Iran's retaliatory fire confirmed that Tehran is willing to respond regardless of the consequences. Beyond the Strait of Hormuz and the Arabian Sea, observers are watching a third potential flashpoint with growing alarm. Israel, which has been described by analysts as Washington's most committed operational partner in the broader confrontation with Iran, remains actively positioned and, according to reports, is still considering options for a fresh strike on Iranian territory. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has made no secret of his government's view that Iran must be prevented from reconstituting its military capabilities and that the window for action may be narrowing. Meanwhile, observers have begun drawing attention to escalating tensions in the Mediterranean Sea, a theater that, until recently, had remained on the periphery of the conflict. Multiple analysts have warned that the conditions for a military confrontation in the Mediterranean are quietly assembling themselves, that the fuse has been lit, and that it is only a matter of time before it reaches the powder. The United States has made its own position on the Strait of Hormuz crystal clear. American warships currently deployed there will not be withdrawn unless Iran agrees to stand down and open the waterway under terms acceptable to Washington. President Trump has stated this unequivocally. If Iran wants the warships gone, Iran must first surrender to the reality of the military and diplomatic situation it now faces. Iran has responded in kind, vowing that if the United States refuses to withdraw its naval forces and continues to threaten Iranian sovereignty, Iran will find ways to destroy American warships in the strait. It is a threat that the U.S. military takes seriously, not because it believes Iran can win a full-scale naval engagement, but because even a losing Iran can inflict significant damage, disrupt global shipping, and ignite a regional war with consequences that would extend far beyond any single military exchange. The next 48 hours will determine the trajectory of this crisis for weeks, months, and potentially years to come. If the delegations meet, if both sides find enough common ground to extend the ceasefire, to begin a substantive negotiation on the core issues of the Strait, Iran's nuclear program, and its regional proxies, then the world steps back from the edge, at least for now. If they do not, if the deadline passes without a deal, if the ceasefire expires and the guns return to doing what guns do, then the Strait of Hormuz, the Arabian Sea, the Gulf of Oman, and potentially the Mediterranean will become active theaters of a conflict with no clear endpoint, no defined boundaries, and no guarantee of containment. Xi Jinping has spoken. Trump has issued his final warning. The Iranian delegation is packing its bags, though whether it will actually walk through the negotiating room door remains uncertain. The clock is ticking. April 22nd is coming, and the world is watching with hope, with dread, and with the quiet, terrible understanding that what happens next will not stay in the Strait of Hormuz. It will reach all